day and welcome to the session Getting Started with Azure Data Studio, where we learn what it is and what this tool offers that can help us on our daily tasks. Don't forget to visit pass.org and take a look at everything it has to offer. Local user groups, SQL surveys, webinars, and you can collaborate with the community as a volunteer as well. Also, please evaluate my session by accessing the session evaluation link at your left side. This will help me to improve and be better prepared for future events, and you can win prizes as well. Let us start with a brief presentation about myself. My name is Eduardo Pivaral. I am a SQL Server database consultant working at Pitian for almost a year. These are my social networks if you want to know a little more about what I do. Regarding my experience, I have more than 15 years working on IT, and of those 10 years have been working almost entirely with SQL Server. Here you can find more about my certifications and the things I have done in the SQL Server community. I am an author for MS SQL Tips and SQL Server Central sites. I won the MS SQL Tips Rookie of the Year award in 2018. I am a board member of the Guatemala SQL Server local user group, and if you want to know more, you can visit my website sqlguatemala.com or my social networks. So move on to the contents on this presentation. So what we'll learn today? We will talk very quickly about this tool is about. What does it offer that can help us on our daily tasks? We will learn how to locate and use the basic options, and most of these sessions will be destined to demos. So let's start. Initially known as SQL Operation Studio, this tool was renamed because Microsoft wants to emphasize that this is a tool not exclusive for use with SQL Server. It is based on Visual Studio Code, the most used web editor in the world. It is in general availability since September 2018, so it's a relatively new tool. This tool is aimed at data professionals working with Microsoft products. It is a multi-platform tool available for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. And the most interesting thing in this tool is that it's open source. So in this link is the GitHub repository. So you can access the source code in here. And if you have the knowledge in JavaScript, mostly Node.js, adapt it to your needs. And the download link for Azure Data Studio is also available, so you can start using it right now. There are two versions of Azure Data Studio, the normal build and the insiders build. What is the difference between them? The normal build, it is the latest stable release. It has been properly tested by the team in charge of the application. It is the build available when you access the download page and use it on your daily job duties. So this is the version most of us will need. And the insiders build, that it is the beta version. It has released more often, almost daily. Contains the latest features and fixes. It also contains the fixes done by the community, so you can start testing new features right away. It is recommended to use it just for testing new features, or if a specific feature we need is broken and will be fixed soon. This is the source code, the insiders build version. It is available in this link. In our demos, we will release the normal release. Since the insiders build has not been properly tested, it can contain errors that can affect this presentation. You can install both versions independently without any issue. Okay, something that Microsoft has stated very clearly is that this tool is not a replacement for the SQL Server Management Studio, because Azure Data Studio's focus on people who spend more time with T-SQL or who is comfortable performing administrative tasks via code, or they want to manage the instance of SQL Server from another operating system other than Windows. On the other hand, SQL Server Management Studio is focused on administrative tasks of configuration and security to manage Windows-based services, or for people that is more used to work with user interfaces and wizards. If you cannot decide a single tool, you can use both, because since version 18, SQL Server Management Studio allows access to Azure Data Studio from within the tool. So you can perfectly use one for administration tasks and another for development tasks. Just keep in mind that SQL Server Management Studio is only available for Windows systems. Okay, what does it offer? We will see the main features of the product. It is lightweight, it's a modern core editor with IntelliSense, it has smart code completion and snippets, it has Object Explorer, server groups, dashboards, you can edit the data from the tables, it has code navigation, you can export results to CSV, XML, JSON and Excel, you can have chart results, you can add extensibility and customization. You can use notebooks, that is one of the main features of this tool. You have integrated terminal, source control, and monthly updates and bug fixes. During the demos we will see most of these features and how they work. We will see a couple of screenshots with the main options available when accessing the tool. We have in here the main menu, the sidebar, where the most important options are available, the text editor, of course, the results and visualizations, and the terminal and history in the bottom bar. Here's another screenshot where we can see the additional options. We have the command palette. It is most important in Azure Data Studio. You will see that we will use it a lot. It's accessed by pressing F1 or Ctrl-Shift-P in Windows systems. The status bar, where we can see some contextual status, and the gear icon that is accessed to the options in the tool. No application is perfect, and Azure Data Studio is no exception, so in case you encounter any issue, you can submit it via the GitHub repository, as you can see in the following screenshots. In the main page, go to the Issues tab and then click on the New Issue button. And a window will open where you can submit your bug. As an advice, try to be as clear as possible and try to document information that could help developers to reproduce the error and screenshots if possible. Also, you can see that you can request new features or usability improvements in case something you need to perform with the tools is missing or is hard to do. You can also submit your issues within the tool as well. In case the tool crashes, you can directly report the error, and this will include the tool information as well. So now we are going to demonstrate what this tool is capable. When you download the tool, you can see the welcome screen, and you can see the most basic options, the file history. You can have some useful links to learn more about this tool and the feature extensions. As we seen before, you have the menu in here with a lot of options, as we will see later. You have, for example, the connections, where you can group your connections and have your server connection as well. I have a local SQL Server instance in here, so I can just connect it and browse for the objects. You can start editing in here. You can select the max rows do you want, 200 rows for now. So I can, for example, put in here number 6. I can show the SQL pane and you can modify this as you want. You can also script an object. Also, you can see that you can manage here. You can right click on the instance and click manage. You can see a small dashboard where you can start managing your instance. You can customize this as well, as we will see later. So very useful. You can add a new service in here, in new connection. You just put the connection options in here and select the server group that you want. So you can separate your production, development, and QA servers. And click connect, and that is all. If you want to create a new server group, just click on new server group. For example, staging. And that's everything. You can see that I can connect to my Azure account here as well. I have a subscription where I can browse the objects I have configured in Azure. I have a SQL database in here, so I can start working on it. And if you want to run commands, you can open a Azure command line in here. Just click on Start Close Shell and select the bash do you want, for example PowerShell. And after some seconds it will load and you can start deploying via code to your Azure subscription. Okay. So you can start typing right away and you can start working on the Azure without any issue. You have a search option, the notebooks, as we will see later, and the files you have in the open folder you have at the moment. To open a folder, you just click on File, Open Folder, and then select the folder you want. And the files contained in that folder will be showing here. We can create a new file as well. For example, if I can create demo, I will use a .txt file. So for example, I type a T-SQL command. What happens if I want to change it the editor to treat this as SQL? Just right click and rename and change the extension to that SQL. You can see that now the script is treated as a T-SQL file, so very useful. You can delete the file as well. You can create new folders, so very useful. You can also integrate to GitHub. Just close the repository I have open, and you can initialize a new one or publish to GitHub, so you can collaborate with your team and start publishing in a Git repository as well. I have the extensions in here. You can see the install extensions you have, or you can add new one. This is the recommend. And also search in the marketplace. For example, you want something for T-SQL. You can see it in here as well. To add from file, it's not in the marketplace. You can do it with the install from VS.ix file. You just have to locate and click on install, as we will see later. A very useful feature of this tool is the command palette. You access by pressing F1 or by clicking in View, Command Palette. For example, I want to change the color of the tool. Just type color. You can see the default options we have. It's for customization. If you want a light theme, you can do it if you want. Very cool. Now let's open our first SQL file. So start working. Just select this script1.sql. Just keep in mind, if you want to change the file you have open in the current tab, just one click on the file and the actual tab will change with the file you select. But if you want to open on a new tab, just double click the file and double click the other one, so you can have two tabs instead of the current one. Let us open the script one for now, and let us hide this. You can select the connection do you want in here. For example, in here in connect, I want to use my local instance in the recent connections or on the save, doesn't matter anyway, and click on connect. Then I want to change the database. I can just select the test and press F5. I have changed the database I am working. I have now a select query. You can run it by click on run option as well. You can see the columns are returned. You can see the export options we have, like CSV, Excel, JSON, and XML file. The cool thing about this, you can try the autocomplete feature. You can see that the alias of this object is SD. So if you type SD dot, you can see the columns and add it as well. If you want to know the data type, you can do it by just hovering over the column you want to know. You can see now the data type and if it is null or not. So very useful. You have to go to the Explorer and check the table definition. You can do it right away in here. For the results, if you want to copy to Excel just a couple of columns, you can do it by just clicking on the column and then with the Control key, hold, and select the columns you want. And you can just copy by Control C. And you can paste it in an Excel file or a new file as you wish. You can see it. Very useful if you want just a part of the columns. Okay, I have another view in here. I want to know the view definition. Just select the object you want to know. Right click and pick definition. We now can see what this view returns, and we can check the tables on it. So very useful. You just close it by click on the X in here. And if you want to modify the object, you just go to the object you want to modify, and also right click and go to definition. You can use F12 as well, and you can modify as needed. So very useful. You don't have to go to the navigator and find the file and do the changes you want. You can do it right away from the same place you are working. Also, if you want to know, for example, if this is a view, a table, or what kind of object is it, you can just hover. You can see in here, this indicates that this is a view, this is a table, and this is a store procedure. And the parameters this store procedure uses as well. For estimated and actual plans, it is possible to do it also from here. You select the query do you want to check, and for the estimated plan, just click on the explain option in here. You can see in here the execution plan. A cool feature that is not included in SQL Server Management Studio is that you can see the top operators for this execution plan in here, and you can order by any column that you want. So very useful for troubleshooting performance issues. If you want to actual plan, there is no option in here, so you have to select in here and go to the command palette again with F1 and just type plan. You can see in here the run current query with actual plan. And you can see the actual plan now. Actual execution and actual rows. So very cool, very useful. You can work very quickly. You can optimize your time and check performance issues right away. Another cool options, for example, if you receive a T-SQL file from another person and you don't understand what it says, you can just format it by selecting it and go to your command palette, type format. Azure Data Studio offers a formatting option right out of the box, so you can use it in here. You can see even it is better than before. It is not perfect. Also, there is an extension called SQL Formatter that you can use it as well in here in the file. So let us give it a try. You just select the text, press F1 again, and type pur. You can format this T-SQL. You can see that it is way better right now. It is very clean. And it offers the option to obfuscate as well. So these are the options the editor offers. We will now check how we can create custom code snippets. So we will close it. I don't care to save. I have now this file, script2.sql. For more in-depth information about creating code snippets, I have a tip published in msqltips.com where you can see more information about this. But for now, let us see what is a code snippet. It is a portion of code you can reuse in your development work. So Azure Data Studio offers some predefined code snippets. You can access them by just typing SQL. You can see a lot of built-in code snippets you can start using right away. For example, if you don't remember the syntax for creating a store procedure, you can do it in here with this snippet. And the template is created, so you can start working it right away. If you want to create your own code snippets, you can do it. Azure Data Studio allows you to do it. I have in here a already created snippet. It is for doing a DBCC check database in here. So we just go to the F1 and type snippet. You can configure user snippets. Then you select SQL because this will be a SQL code snippet. And in here, we just copy the snippet I have already created for database consistency check. You can check in this file that a basic help is already provided, so you can check it and start creating your own snippets. But let's just copy our snippet in here. For databases consistency check, you select the title do you want, the prefix to access it, and the description. Let us just save the file. Once it is saved, you just type SQL again, and it is in here, SQL DBCC. We can see the description, how this snippet, the code on this snippet is created. So just click on it. You can see we have multiple options. For example, you want to do a DBCC check DB. That's everything for a basic snippet. Also, if you want to allow the user to select other options as well, again, you can do it. With SQL DBCC. You can navigate by the parameters using tab. For example, again, DBCC check DB, and tab, and with no info messages. And that is a code snippet, so you want to implement a code you use very frequently. This is the option do you want to use. So let us delete this snippet for now. And you can see that if we type again, it is not in here anymore. So this is the way to remove it. Okay. And now go to the File Explorer and open script tree. With this script, we will see the chart options Azure Data Studio offers. Let's connect to our connection, local connection. Okay. I have a prepared query for the chart options, so I just run it. And in here, you can see the chart. Okay, you just have to change it in here to vertical. You can see the number of orders by year. And you hover, you can see the actual number. So very useful. So what if we want to check this chart every time we access the manage option in the connection? We can do it by creating an insight option in here. Create insight. So we will create a widget. Go and create insight. You have to format this JSON file again. So just select everything. F1 again and format. Okay. Then go to settings. And in here, check widget. In here, there are two types of widgets. There is one for database and one for servers. What is the difference? That for server, it will be accessible when you click on the instance, and for database, when you click on any database. So let us click on the server one, edit. Okay, you can see in this dashboard.server widgets, inside these brackets, you have to put the code we generated earlier. Just select everything and paste in here. Okay, just save the file now. And if we go to connections and right click on manage, we can see this information is available right now. You can add more widgets in here by just in the settings by just adding a comma, and you can add a new one in here. Very cool, very useful to have insights right away from the manage tab. For example, if you have a monitoring for your databases, you can do it, and you can open quickly and access you need. Let us close this. Okay, and if you want to delete it, you can do it again by going to settings. And just select the widget and delete it. Save the file again. And if we go to the connection again and click on manage, it won't appear anymore. We will create an extension for this later. We will see in a minute how to do it. So one of the main features of Azure Data Studio are the notebooks. You can create a new notebook by clicking on File and New Notebook. You can see all the creation options you have in here. For accessing the current notebooks, you can click on the Notebooks option in here. I have a demo already created that it is in the folder that I have opened, so that is why it appears in here. You have also a search, So let's open it. And what is a notebook? It is a document based on Jupyter open software that allows you to create and share documents with code and formatted text and the results. It is in Markdown format. It is similar to the code you use in GitHub. And a collection of notebooks is called a book. You can create a book right here in the notebook options. Create a book. Also, Azure Data Studio offers already created notebooks you can access in here in provided books. Just click and SQL Server 2019 guide. You can see a book that is collection of notebooks. So I have a notebook here already created. You can see that you can check the text, you can put images, hyperlinks. Also, you can copy anything from a web page and paste it right away with format. So for example, use the pass site as an example. What if I want to copy this? Just click on copy and paste it right away with format. Also, it also works with images. So for example, I want to use this pass image, copy image, and you can paste it as well. We can see the definition in here, in the split view. All the code you paste in here is converted to Markdown format, so you don't have to worry about. You can just edit in raw Markdown right away. You can add also images in here and have other formatting options. You can do it. So for example, you can bold this select text without any issue. Once you're happy with the results, just click on another place. And for run code, you can select in here the kernel you want to use. In this case, we will use the SQL kernel. And the connection. We will use our local connection. Click on connect. And you can just run it right away. You can see the options and the export. This also supports code snippets, so if you type SQL, you can see you can use the snippets as well. Also, HTML code is also supported in the notebook. So for example, if I want to open the terminal right from the notebook, I can do it. And I have a new PowerShell in here to start working right away from the tool without having to open another editor or anything else. You can do it here right away. For our last demo, we will see how to create an extension. This is useful if you want to share with your team or with the community new functionalities or insights or information. We will learn how to create a dashboard extension. For this, we will use a Visual Studio Code. So what do you need to create an extension? You will need Node.js installed, Visual Studio Code, the Azure Data Studio debug extension for Visual Studio Code, the Geoman extension generator, and finally to create the package you will need the PSC package. You install it using npm as well. If you want a more in-depth about how to create extensions. I have 2 articles published in msqltips.com, so you can check both of them. One is for a dashboard and one is for a TypeScript extension. You can check it at any time. But for now, let us open Visual Studio Code. So we will open Visual Studio Code and open a new terminal. And just type GO Azure Data Studio. This will open the Geoman extension generator, and we will select the extension we want to create. So once it has opened, we just select the dashboard extension in here. This will open a small and quick wizard where you select the required options you want. So in this one, no, yes, on server, yes, on the database, no. And where do you want to put the extension? So let's put in administration for this example. And toolbar, no. Navigation, no. And what is the display name for your extension? Let us use demo pass. Okay. Description: this is a demo of an extension. Okay, yes. We would use npm. This will create using a template we can use to start working right away on our extension. So it has finished. Now we can just go to the folder it has been created with cd demo pass. You can see it in here. Okay, and then just code dot. You can see a new instance of Visual Studio Code is created without the required files in here. So let's go to the source folder and locate SQL. You can see in here there is a query.sql. So let us delete the other ones because I don't want it right now. Okay. So open the query.sql, and in here we will use the example we have used before, script 3. Okay, and we will paste it in Visual Studio Code. Okay, now save the query.sql in the source. Now the second step, in the package.json file you can locate in here the widget that will be used on our extension. You can change any parameter in here you want based on the demo we saw earlier. You just have to delete these two because we won't be using it. Just check in here. Yeah. Okay, everything is set. So click on save, and that's all. We can just debug our extension right now. In run, start debugging, and after some seconds a new instance of Azure Data Studio will open. Okay, this is the debug instance that is running. So we can go to any server we have. We will use our local instance And after some seconds it will connect, and you can just right click in here, click on manage, and here is our tab of the widget we just created. Okay, the information is in here. We can see other windows in here. We can just delete them. Let's do it. Just close it. Okay. And this information is in here, in containers, dashboard.containers. We just have to delete the ones we are not using. And we can change the title of the container as well. My container. Okay, save and run it again. Connect to our instance again. Right click on manage. And go to the demo pass again. You can see we have changed the title and removed the other two containers. And that's everything. Once you are happy with your extension, we are ready to package it. So return to Visual Studio Code and go to the readme file in here, readme.md. We just have to put our own description, because if we don't change this file we won't be able to create the package. So title, okay, it had a typo, and just click on save. Okay, we can now return to our terminal, or just open a new terminal. Just verify that you are on the same folder where your solution is created, and just type vsc package. Okay, after some seconds the package wizard will open. Okay, we have an error. We can see in the package.json we have in here some dependencies that are not allowed, so we just have to delete it. Okay, then save the file and try again. Okay, do you want to continue? Yes. And that is everything. Now you have in here your path of the package you have just created. So let us just copy. Okay. Copy. And then return to Azure Data Studio or normal instance. Go to extensions, install from VSIX file. We will put the path of the solution, and here's the file. We just install it. You can see a warning regarding security risk appears. We just click yes. And that's everything. Here is our extension. It's created now. You can see the details we just put in the readme file in here. And we can start using it. So we go to connections, manage. And here is our extension just created. Can refresh it. And if you want to remove it, just go to extensions again, click in here and click on uninstall. Then we can refresh in here. It doesn't appear anymore. And that's all the demos for this session. I hope you have found something useful for you. And what are the next steps for you? Go to ak.ms/get Azure Data Studio to download the tool right away. Don't forget to choose the installer that suits to your operating system. Also, there are some instructions in this page so you can follow up on the installation, no matter what is your operating system. Next, you can visit github.com, the Microsoft Azure Data Studio page, to get the source code, check the official documentation. Also, you can see the changelog for the latest changes in every version. So in this page, there is also a wiki page. You can check for some documentation if you want to contribute with this project. So you can follow up the guidelines to start building and adding more features to the tool. So don't forget to visit it and check this. Also, in the latest version of SQL Server Management Studio, on version 18.7, Azure Data Studio is also included in the installer. So if you update your SQL Server Management Studio version to the latest, you will obtain also Azure Data Studio integrated on this installer. For the last thing, don't forget to follow on Twitter Azure Data Studio account so you can receive the latest updates for the tool and some cool projects the community do. And that is everything for this presentation. Thank you for your time. We will now pass to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please let me know and I will answer it right now. Again, those are my social networks if you want to know a little bit more on what I do, and QR code to my website. See you soon.